Let's Be Friends, Grade 1 Science Presentation by Sam and Lindsay. For our science presentation, we chose to explore the connection between bees and flowers and pollination. We saw this as an opportunity to highlight the social and environmental issue of bees becoming endangered while teaching the foundations of the power of pollination in the environment. This presentation focuses on how flowers attract pollinators with bright colors and how this creates a healthy environment for plants, insects, and humans. These are our curriculum connections for science curriculum: understanding life systems, needs and characteristics of living things. Our overall expectations are identify personal action that they themselves can take to help maintain a healthy environment for living things, including humans, investigate and compare the basic needs to humans and other living things, including the need for air, water, food, warmth, and space, using a variety of methods and resources, investigate the physical connections, characteristics of plants, and explain how they help the plant meet its needs, using a variety of methods and resources, and use a variety of forms to communicate with different audiences for a variety of purposes. Overall, they'll be able to describe how showing care and respect for all living things helps to maintain a healthy environment and identify what living things provide for other living things. Our cross-curricular connections include art and phys ed. In visual arts, they'll be able to use elements of design and artworks to communicate ideas, messages, and personal understandings, and use a variety of materials, tools, and techniques to respond to design challenges. In phys ed, they'll be able to demonstrate responsibility for their own safety and the safety of others as they participate in physical activity and perform movement skills, demonstrating an understanding of the basic requirements of the skills and applying movement concepts as appropriate as they engage in a variety of activities. Our enduring understandings is that students will understand the basic needs of pollination for the environment. Students will understand the responsibility of humans to maintain a healthy environment. Students will understand why living things are important and should be treated with care. And students will understand how plants, insects, and humans are connected. Our learning goals is that students will be able to identify the relationship between flowers and bees for pollination. Students will be able to discover the importance of pollination for healthy flowers. They'll be able to show how flowers communicate to bees and animals with colors. They'll be able to role play how bees help flowers with pollination. They'll be able to recognize the role of humans in protecting bees. And they'll be able to build a bee bath for the school flower garden to model environmental stewardship. Prior knowledge that's required. Students will have an understanding that plants and animals, including people, are living things. Students will know that flowers are the blossom of a plant. Students will know the different parts of the flower, including the stem, roots, leaf, and flower. And students will have an understanding that living things have basic needs that can be met from the environment. The teaching materials that are required for our minds on reading is Flower Talk, How Plants Use Color to Communicate. This is available in a book and a read-aloud video. Move Pollen Like a Bee is an activity. They will need pre-cut blank paper flowers, colored crayons, and yellow and orange pom-poms. And for our community bee bath, they will need small dish or plate, rocks, and water. For our Minds On activity, we chose the book The Flowers Are Calling. In a class setting, we would do a read-aloud of the book. The book is available as a video read-aloud as an option for differentiated instruction. To provide a taste of this book, we've provided the following clip.
Flowers Are Calling. Words by Rita Gray. Pictures by Kennard Pack. Flowers Are Calling. Words by Rita Gray. Pictures by Kennard Pack. Flowers are calling a little black bear. No, not a bear. He doesn't care. They're calling a butterfly to dip from the air. Flowers are calling a wet green frog. No, not a frog. She likes her soggy bog. They're calling a bumblebee to look near their log. Flowers are calling a porcupine. No, not a porcupine. She wouldn't take the time. They're calling a hummingbird to sip at their vine. Queen Anne's lace. Butterflies like a landing pad when they drink nectar. Monk's hood. Bumblebees are hefty enough to push deep inside a monkshood flower where nectar is stored. Trumpet honeysuckle. Hummingbirds use their long tongues to reach the nectar hidden in deep tubular flowers and hover as they drink. Flowers are calling a loud blue jay. No, not a jay. He wouldn't stay. They're calling a honeybee to fly their way. Flowers are calling.
After this read aloud, we would lead a reading reflection, asking the following questions. What insects did the flowers call to? Where is the nectar stored in a plant? What do the honeybees help to make? How do the flowers call the animals and insects in the book? Can you name some of the colors of the flowers? This leads us to our flower activity. Following the discussion, pre-cut flowers would be distributed to students. Students would be instructed to color the flowers with bright colors so bees would be attracted to them. Students could talk about how their flower would smell to also attract bees as they color them. Once flowers are finished coloring, students would transition to the busy bee relay race. For this, flowers are adaptations for pollination and attracting pollinators with bright colors and attractive scents. When bees visit a flower, pollen sticks to the hairs on their body and is transferred from flower to flower. With this in mind, we've created this game, the Busy Bee Relay Race. Students would go to the gymnasium and be divided into two teams. Each team would spread out into a line that measures the length of the gym. A pom-pom would be put on the first flower in the line. The student standing at this flower will start the race. Students must carry the pom-pom pollinator from their flower and place it on the flower ahead of them. The next student will then pick up the pom-pom pollinator and run to the flower ahead, and so on. The first team to pollinate to the last flower wins the race. After students have completed the Busy Bee relay race, we would transition to the Consolidation Activity. We would communicate to students the reality of how bees are becoming endangered, which means they are a risk for going extinct. When something is extinct, it means there's no more of them in the world. We would prompt students to consider what would happen to the world if there were no more bees. Once students have had an opportunity to contribute, we would explain that just like birds need water, so do bees and other pollinators. We can help bees by putting out a small dish of water or put some rocks in a bird bath so that they have something to land on so that they can take a sip. We would instruct students to collect a rock they found at recess to build a bee bath. As a class, we would make our simple bee bath following step 2, place rocks in a small dish and fill with water. Then we would go outside to find a good home for it. This is a good activity to have students consider a proper location for the bath. Where can we put our bath around the school? In the shade, near a tree? How about near the flower garden? This activity builds active stewardship as students make connections between science and environmental issues to develop a caring and respectful attitude towards all living things. With that, they can continue to explore the dangers bees are in and the importance of human responsibility to keep a healthy environment for all. Thank you.